I've noticed this. Even before the pandemic, I've noticed, because I'm a watcher. I'm one whose God has given a blessing, a gift, and that gift is to watch and learn people. It's the best way to live, actually. Instead of just believing everything that's told to you, get to know that person, the things that they say, how frequently they speak, how they speak, how they react to how you speak, how they react to others, negative and positively. As a watcher, I've learned, especially since the pandemic, and it's probably been before the pandemic, but we're talking about after the pandemic, during the pandemic. People don't want to take responsibility for their actions, for the things that they do and they don't do. No, they want to blame someone else. They want to put that responsibility, that lack of admitting that you've done something wrong or you're doing something wrong, and just say, yeah, I did it, my bad, I'm sorry. But there is none of that. There's just ego that gets in the way and makes them assume that what they're doing, how they're acting, is okay. And it is not. It is very wrong. So today, we're going to speak of lack of. My two lack ofs that I want to speak of is communication and responsibility. So, I used to work for this company. I won't say its name. I moved from Overland Park, Kansas to Ferguson, Missouri to transfer from this company with hopes of growing and being something. Now, take it, my attendance wasn't the best. I'm not going to lie. Especially before the pandemic, because I ended up getting really sick. Nobody could figure out what it was, COVID. Until COVID came around, and then everybody else was getting sick. But by that time, that was just a regular flu or cold for me. That the doctors were like, well, it's not the flu, but we don't know what it is. Everybody's getting this bug. And that bug was COVID, and people were dying. People have been dying before COVID. We just haven't been paying attention. So, I go to this warehouse, walking around. I see things that need to be fixed. And I was told that's what my job was, other than the job that I had when I was working in Overland Park, to help this company to save money and time. So we moved there. I get there, and automatically I'm bumping heads with my supervisor. And my supervisor's an ex-cop. And no, I didn't bump heads with him because he's an ex-cop. I don't have a problem with police officers. I only have a problem with police officers who don't do their job. If you're an ex-cop and you got out of the force for a reason, that's fine. But if you got out and you have these narcissistic, sociopathic, racist comments that you want to make, then you're a dirtbag. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts around the dirtbag. It's a bag of dirt, and you're probably him. So, the dirtbag that I worked with, or worked for, he was a manager, and he told me what I needed to do, and I did what I needed to do. And maybe I made a few mistakes here and there, but he would come to me all kinds of different ways. He would come to me and say, well, this hasn't been done, blah, 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 blah. He'd say what he has to say, and then at the end of everything he had to say, he says, and that's it, end of discussion. Now, as an employee, that's not how you talk to. You talk to a kid that way. You tell a kid to end the discussion, you talk to them like that. But as an employee, if an employee has something to say, if your employee has something to say, how can you shut him or her down with end of discussion? So, we rubbed each other the wrong way, or he rubbed me the wrong way. So I don't like when people talk crazy to me. I'm going to say something back. So I did. He said what he had to say. He turned around and walked away. And I said, oh, no, that's not how you talk to your employees. And you ain't just about to turn around and just walk away from me like that. That's not how it happens. You don't do that. That's not professional. That's not what managers do. That's not my first time telling this man that. But that's not going to be my first time telling this man that. So, as I said, there were things that I seen that needed to be fixed as far as this company that doesn't sell furniture, but they sell a better way of living, a better lifestyle, had furniture that belonged from their clients. I'm not going to name the clients. And I noticed that the furniture has been beaten up, torn up, stripped up. It's junk. And they're storing it. And they're charging their customers, their clients, money, big money, to store this stuff. It's been there for some of it for a decade, some of it for shorter, some of it for longer. But the whole thing was, my idea was, let's talk to the client and see if the client knows that it's still there. Because in business, in corporations, the corporate world, positions change hands. So when the position changed hands, that company may not have been alerted to where we have stuff over there that we're constantly paying for. Now, for me, my example was, if the customer knew this was here, if we tell the customer that it's here, do they want to keep it or do they want to dump it? If they want to keep it, then fine. We keep it here. If they want to dump it, then they can, or pick it up, they can pick it up, or we could dump it for them. We could charge them to dump it. We can stop charging them to store it, and they can spend that money somewhere else within the company. That's what my plan was. So I wanted them to take the money that they're spending to store and spend it on the better way of living. Shut down. I was not only shut down, but I was told I'm on a 90-day probation and I need to tread lightly, basically. Don't come up with no ideas until your 90 days is over. So I waited. And in my waiting, I got written up one good time. Most of it was just talking and warnings. Everybody would get a warning. For me, for some reason, every time something happened that didn't suit this man, he would come to me. We have to pick up orders and put them on the dock. I pick up the orders, I put them on the dock, and once in a while I forget something. That's very important that you don't forget something. And sometimes I would. And he would warn us, this keeps happening, and I keep having to save you guys. Like, literally, he was saving us. And I can't keep doing this, so, I'm going to have to write you guys up. So I was like, okay, I need to make sure I'm a little bit better at this, take care of this, so I don't get written up. I failed. Okay? I was working on a dock. I was doing something. Somebody asked for help. I went to go help them. I came back, and guess who was standing there? Why is this sitting here? Well, because I was helping somebody. Well, this keeps happening. I don't even think the order was taken out yet. I think it was still there, and I just needed to pull it, or maybe it needed to be pulled, and somebody took it and didn't take everything. Regardless, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. So he asked me, what do you think I should do about that? Now, let's take what he just said. What do I, the employee, think that the manager should do about that? One, as a supervisor, manager, CEO, whatever you want to call yourself, CO, whatever, manager, supervisor, boss, that's not a question you ask your employees. It's not. It's very unprofessional to ask your employees that, as a matter of fact. Why do I need to tell you what you need to do to me because I failed to do what you wanted me to do? You said you was going to write me up, so I said, well, you said you was going to write me up, so, I guess you just got to write me up. So he's like, okay. I worked the rest of the day, left and went home, came back the next day, got pulled into the man's office. Now take it. I just admitted, and even in front of this gentleman, admitted that it was my responsibility and I wasn't doing the right thing. So I took the responsibility of saying I was wrong and I'm sorry and I'm going to work better. And also take that I'm not the only one that's been making mistakes. Other people have made it a whole lot more severe than I have. But that doesn't matter. Not to him. He pulls me into his office. He sits me down. He asks me another question. Now take it. If you are a supervisor and you are listening to this, take note to what I am telling you. You do not ask your employees, one, if you're going to punish them for something, or take some kind of action against them, what do you think I should do about this? That is very unprofessional, and you do not need to be a manager. That whole thing needed to be rethought, but it was not. He asked me this question, the second dumbest question. So, what do you think of me? I paused. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do I think of you? Because, like, if I could tell him what I really thought of him, I would hurt this man's feelings. He would write me up, suspend me, get me fired. He'll do whatever he can. He's a very petty man. Very petty. So, I said, what do you mean? He said, what do you think of me as a manager? I said, well, you need work. There are some things that you do that I wouldn't do. For example, and I started, and then he stopped me. See what I'm saying? Don't ask me that. If your skin ain't thick enough to take it, then don't ask it. Sorry. I'm cut from a different cloth. I'll give it to you if you want it. I'll let you know. With the best of respect. No, it all came for all due respect. As a manager, I worked at Taco Bell. Shift manager, I worked at Taco Bell. Assistant manager, I worked at Dollar Tree. I needed work. You can ask my supervisors. Some of my supervisors are still my good friends, and they'll tell you he was a good supervisor, but he needed work. Every supervisor needs work. So it's nothing disrespectful towards him. He took that the way he wanted to. So he gave me this pink piece of paper. And this pink piece of paper described the things that we went through yesterday. So I was like, okay, that's fine. So I took it and I was about to sign it. And he pulled it back. He said, but I had to add this. So he took the bottom piece and unflapped it. It's just a little section about a rectangular shape. And it said, he told me how to do my job, so I am sending him home for today. Did you get that? I told him how to do his job, so he sent me home because he felt like I was trying to tell him how to do his job. He asked me, what should we or he, and as a matter of fact, I took what do you mean what should we do about it? That kind of reminded me of some slavery stuff. We sure is having a nice morning, ain't we? Yes, sir, we having a nice morning. Did you try to escape? What do you think we should do about that? I don't know, master, I don't know. And that's how I took it. Yeah, I know it might be a little extreme for some. For some, they might be like, well, that's spot on. That's what I was thinking. What do you mean? And for some, it's like, that's just unprofessional. Why do you come and ask your employees that, and then when they tell you the answer that you said you was going to do anyway, but of course he wanted me to beg for my freedom. He wanted me to beg not to write him up. No, I'm not begging you to do none of that. I told you I could do better, but that wasn't enough for you. So you wrote me up. And then you took me home, sent me home with another write-up. I've been having problems with you ever since you started. This hasn't been doing none, this hasn't done none, but when? No, that's not true. I've never crashed the forklift like he has. He's dang near knocked down a shelf. We've all watched him do this. He was a terrible supervisor. Terrible. So I seen that. I looked at that. I said, well, you asked me. And he said, yeah, well, why did you tell me? Because you asked me. I said, you know what? I could take this up here, but this right here, this is petty. Oh, so you're calling me petty? No, but your actions are petty. What you're doing right now is petty. That's not cool. That's not how professional. You're supposed to be a manager, and that's also, we got it. You know, I stopped myself because people know I can go there with you, but I'm not going to go there with you. So I got up and I left, and I was angry. I was livid. Went home, came back the next day. He had an attitude. He wasn't really talking to me. I didn't go to anybody because I felt like if I went to, human resources and I went to his manager with things and she was all on his dick. Yes, I said that for people who are like, what? Yeah, she was all on it. She didn't, oh, he's just this, he's that. But I think she got into it, into him about something he did wrong. And it was probably that. But for a while, we didn't have a problem. But at that time, after seeing that and several other things that have went wrong, I decided that I didn't want to work for this company because nobody's going to accept responsibility for the things. As a matter of fact, there's another employee that was there. He decided that he wanted to be a truck driver. So he quit and he went to go get his driver's his CDL. He got a CDL. And then I quit and I ended up working for another company. And then I got an email saying that I coerced or influenced an employee to go and find another job or have another job with me, and that was a breach in the contract. It was a contract that I did sign. I never told anybody to quit your job and come work with me. I never did anything like that. As a matter of fact, I quit and I started working for who I was working for. He quit. He went to go take his class and then he started working for who he wanted to work for. So I called Human Resources and I let them know that they need to cease and desist. Cease and desist from calling me and threatening me with things that you don't know. So, lack of responsibility. Only thing I've dealt with there was people with their lack of responsibility. They would rather, this company would rather keep your money, take your money, instead of letting you know that you have things that are broken and probably don't need to be stored there. They don't know or never took the opportunity to try to figure out how to turn that revenue, that income, and turn it around into something else. You see what I was trying to do? I was trying to keep the money in-house, but I was trying to use honesty, loyalty, trust. You built with these companies for the longest, and now you're scandaling them. You're swindling them. So I just couldn't stand it. I couldn't do it, and I felt like people I was dealing with, I wanted to be it's called a project manager. A project manager goes and talks with the customer and organizes where how your living space should go in feng shui, basically. And I thought I would have been very good at that with the proper training, but they didn't want to train me to do that, but they wanted to hire other people. Basically, I would see a lot of white faces. I only knew of one black face, actually two, and she didn't stay. They got rid of her, and then I seen one that was shocked that I was there and was like, where are all the black people at? And I said, well, most of us are in the warehouse. See, I don't want to be stuck in your warehouse. I felt like I could have brought the company more, but I didn't get that. And so I quit. After getting written up, after getting confronted about bullcrap left and right, I gave up. And my supervisor was a bitch on wheels. Yes. Yes, you were. And I hope you're listening. You were. You were horrible. You took someone else's word and he was wrong. And if he's listening, you're horrible. I pray for you. I pray for both of you. I always have since those incidents, and prayed that you would never do that to someone else and that God handles you accordingly. God, not me. Not some dude on the street. God. He has a good way of handling things when he sees you doing wrong. So hopefully, they learn their lesson. But they're not responsible. If they get caught by these companies swindling their money, nobody's going to accept responsibility. They're going to point it to somebody, blame them, and fire them. So, I worked for another company. Man, this guy had an opinion. He wanted to know about this black thing, and I can't stand white folks, white people. Do not ask us why this is this. We are all not a full entity. Just like all white people aren't alike. I can't come up and say, hey, well, white people, why do white people do this? Why do white people do that? No. That doesn't happen. Because I can't speak for the black race. I can't speak for anybody. I can't speak for all men. I can't speak for all of nothing. I only speak for me. So I can't answer your question. That's racist. So after a few of those, and he was one of those type of guys that was like, I can't stand when people talk crap behind my back, and then when they in my face, they're a different person. Yeah, I can't stand that either. But that's funny that you can't stand that and you do that. So I got fired for there. I got called into the office because they said they was having too many complaints. Too many things weren't getting done the way they wanted, the rapid way that they wanted them done. So they got rid of me. They got rid of me. Then they called me back the next day and asked me if I wanted to work and do this one job. And I said, no. Are you going to put me back on the payroll? No. Okay. No. So, into that. Oh, then they called me again and apologized. And I've said some things that I didn't regret. And they got what they wanted. They got what they got. That's what they get. And now I work for a school district where I love it. I love the kids. I'm a custodian. I like dealing with the children. I'm a mentor for some. If they want to hear my journey, my story, because I'm not only just a custodian. I do repair work. I'm a maintenance guy. I do house repairs, things like that. So, the money's never stopped. It's a little bit harder to get sometimes during the winter season, but other than that, same thing with communication. The lack of communication in companies is weird. I don't want to work for a company and we can't communicate. If I don't see my supervisors and I got employees staff members, co-workers ask me where my supervisors are, and they've been there way longer than I have, then there's an issue. Not with me, but with them. Because you're asking me, which to me is kind of like starting trouble. So instead of asking me where my supervisors are, you need to call my supervisors up. So, and that's become part of an issue. The lack of responsibility that people want to take doing their job. I feel like jobs get delegated to people because other people don't want to do their jobs. And that's wrong. We don't do it. You're supposed to do it. Your job is your job and my job is my job. If my job is to tell you to do your job, then you do your job. But if I'm not doing my job and I come and tell you, hey, I need you to do my job, then that's not me doing my job as a supervisor. That's the lack of responsibility. You're putting your responsibility on somebody else. That's wrong. We don't do that. Okay? So, basically, in these three stories, or the story I'm telling you, basically, communication is important in a job. If you go to a place and you tell them, hey, this isn't going right, these people aren't communicating with each other right, and they say, well, welcome to this and welcome to this building. then you need to go find another job, because it's only going to get worse. It's not going to change. You could try to make it change, and I'll root for you. As a matter of fact, I'll retract what I just said. Do what you can, but don't let them push you over the edge. Understand that with this pandemic, there are a lot of people that don't have jobs because they don't want any job. There are jobs out there. The only thing you have to do is apply for them. There are careers out there and people that will give you a chance. The only thing you have to do is go for it. So don't hold on to one thing if they're going to continue to abuse you. And take your kindness or weakness and not communicate. There's every day something goes on. Somebody complains to me about something that happened a whole week ago. There's no toilet paper in the boys' bathroom. That's funny. I just came from the boys' bathroom and there's been toilet paper in there. Oh, no, that was a message I got a week ago. What is that? Take responsibility. If somebody gives you a message to give to an employer, then give that message to the employer. Pick up your phone and do it. When somebody tells me, hey, this isn't done, or this is broke, and we need a maintenance man, then I'm calling the maintenance man. I'm sending it to my operations manager for her to, what she does with that information is on her. If she forgets, that's on her. I did my part. It's in black and white. It's on my phone. People, we need to cover our tracks and make sure that we're doing right, so people don't come out and point the finger and blame us for their lack of responsibility and their lack of communication. And that's where lack of comes from. And that could be for anybody. Everybody on here listening to this has something that they can relate to dealing with that. That lack, I can't stand that. That irritates me. Like, if you could tell me about how my day is, your day is, if you could tell me that you got a booger in your nose, you could tell me you whatever. You could tell me all this stuff, then you could tell me that something's missing, something needs to be done, there's a hole. You could tell me if you can't come in and you need somebody to cover you, you could tell me that. Don't let me come in and find out. That's unprofessional. So since this pandemic, I've noticed that it's a lot of unprofessionalism going on out here, the lack of responsibility and the lack of communication, and it needs to be fixed. Not tomorrow, immediately. Not 6 weeks from now, immediately. Take some responsibility for yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and think about the things that you are doing or you are not doing, the jobs that you are given and the jobs that you're supposed to be doing that you're handing off to somebody else that you're supposed to be taking responsibility. And understand there are people in this world that will do your job with no problem. Just to take your job. I used to be that person. Now I don't want other people's jobs. I just want to do my job so I can take care of my family and go home. Have respect for your fellow coworker. You don't know what they're going through. And that's one thing that I had to deal with. Like, I don't know what they're going through. So maybe they're doing this or treating me this way or acting this way because they're going through something. That still isn't fair to you. Don't take that. Don't take that. Don't. Too many times I've asked people, told them my situation, and asked them what they would do. And well, no, not too many. Just a couple people. Well, if somebody asked me to do it, I just do my job. So when you're noticing that you're doing somebody else's job and they're not doing anything, how do you feel about that? Oh no. They can't answer that part. People forgot how to stand up for themselves and say no. I don't have a problem telling somebody no. As a matter of fact, I enjoy saying no sometimes. You have to tell somebody no because they won't take you any other kind of way. If you keep saying yes, 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 then everybody like, oh, well, Michael can do it. And that's what happens. Something maintenance worthy needs to be done. Michael can do it. Yeah, I could do it. I could plumbing, electricity. I could do it. But I get paid way more to do it than what you're trying to do. If you're trying to pay me a custodian salary to do maintenance stuff, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And that's me taking responsibility for my God-given gift. And don't let people say, oh, well, God utilizes people And sometimes we have to just do things for, yes, but God didn't raise no fool. God didn't bring you here for you to be taken advantage of, whether that person is a Christian or not, whether you work for a Christian service or not. Don't let people take advantage of you. Please stand up for yourself, people. Because if you won't, somebody's going to stand on you. Somebody's going to stand on you. Trust me. I used to let people step on me a good portion of my life. When I started standing up for myself, that's when I became a dick. People hated me. Why is he so mean? Why is he so negative? Why can't he just, everybody else does this, everybody else does that? Yeah, because they're scared of you and they don't want to get fired. I don't care. Fire me. So when they asked me at the other job, well, why did they terminate you? Well, I had a manager that didn't want to do the things that he or she was supposed to do. They were never there when they were supposed to be. So many things were going awry. I really wanted to quit, but I stuck in there because I felt like there was a change that needed to be made, and it could be made. Once I started voicing those changes and people started ignoring them, or I started getting in more trouble, then that's when I noticed. But by that time, I got fired. What I'll bring to this job is the same thing I brought to the other job. Just give me an opportunity. If I see something going wrong in your company, give me an opportunity for me to help you and your company save or earn more money. The company I worked for before, I think they looked at the color of my skin and they were like, oh, or the way that I speak, which to me, I think I speak very well. And we're like, oh, he's just another ignorant. They never seen the gifts that I possessed. They never gave me a chance. Take responsibility. Please. It's very important. You could be missing out on some special things and special people, special gifts that God gives people, but don't take advantage of them. I'm going to leave you guys with this. Whatever you're going through at work, whatever you're going through at home, you're supposed to separate those. Sometimes they tell you don't make personal relationships because the personal relationships at work can turn very ugly, and that's true. Keep your work at work and your home at home. If you're having an issue at home, then don't bring that to work. Your co-workers don't need to deal with that. If you're having a situation at work, don't take it home. Your wife, your lover, whoever it is, your children, they don't need to deal with that. It's not their fault. Fix it. Don't be afraid to go over your supervisor's head to their supervisor and talk to them about what's going on. That's one thing that I didn't do at first. If I would have done that, maybe it would have did something for the first job, but I highly doubt it. As a matter of fact, the company I work for in Overland Park or Lenexa, Kansas, they're owned by each other, and that was the best place for me to be. I should have stayed there. The supervisor that I know, the owner, is awesome. Me and him are still good associates. I wouldn't say friends. We're friends on Facebook, but that doesn't mean anything. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. Nothing like what I've worked with before at the other place. But I never came to him with this because I felt like he probably already knew. Before I transferred, I never asked him. This is Michael Porter with That Doesn't Make Sense. Have a blessed one.